there, I'm Kristen. I've been a longtime thrifter, but recently I have started to thrift with more intention. So I am thinking about opening an online shop with sort of curated or vintage stationery. I've always had a lot of fun looking at stickers, pens, cards, paper. In the 90s, I had every scrapbook sticker known to man. And so I never, oh, my cat's coming to help. Come on, Hecate. Oh, sorry. Um, and so I never really outgrew that. And so I've noticed that when I'm going to thrift stores, there's a lot of fun cards and just ephemera that I am tempted by. And so I've started to kind of gather that. And I want to gather with purpose because I know myself, I will just buy everything that I can find if I don't have like a guide for it. So I think having a shop idea, sort of a curation in mind, is going to really help me with that. And so I wanted to go through, I've done two hauls recently. So I've kind of combined them. One, I started to go through a little bit already before I decided I wanted to do these videos. So you'll notice it's not all as packaged as it tends to be, when you first come home from the thrift store. I have gone through some of that already, but it's all still here. So the first thing that I found that I was really excited by, we're going to call this one of my hero pieces, was this wall hanging, and it's actually in really good shape. Looks like it's probably, if I had to guess, I would say probably from the 70s. And it has a place for letters, bills, and then miscellaneous. Just a few markings on like the miscellaneous section, but I feel like I can maybe buff those out without too much trouble, or maybe even just like cleaning it up will give it a bit more of a polished look. But I love this piece because you've got to start with a place to hold your stationery before you start collecting it, right? So then I use Savers quite a bit. That's what's available where I'm at in the Northeast. It's weird, we don't have a ton of like Goodwills, Salvation Army type places. And so Savers is my go-to. And they have these like bags where they'll just take a bunch of stuff and throw it all in a bag. It generally has sort of a theme to it, but not always. So you get what you get, and you can't really dig through to find exactly what is in there. So you've got to kind of go based off of, oh, that looks cool, and then hope for the best. They tend to be between like $2.50 to like, I think I've seen one up to like $8. So as I cleared those out, I got a bag full of all of the like pens, which honestly, like, it's pens. I'm not mad about it. There was like one micron pen in there that I got. So kind of like a fine liner. That was kind of a noteworthy one. But everything else is pretty generic, so nothing all that exciting. So in one of those bags, I found these cards. They're markings cards. I guess that's the brand. That's the thing though, as interested as I am in this stuff, this is all a learning process. I don't actually know what's noteworthy, what's cool, what's gonna sell. Somehow as a mom, nobody needs anything until you start to do something. And then all of a sudden I have the cat, I have my oldest daughter who inexplicably took a nap today and so is still up 2 hours past her bedtime. And of course they all want to come flock to me right as I sit down to work on this. So there might be interruptions. Anyway, so the markings stationery, I don't actually know anything about this. I pick up what looks interesting, what looks like I could put it together in some sort of a bundle. So it's got a kind of a nice like Velcro closure. And then the cards themselves are in really good shape. They've got like angels on them. It reminds me of a very 90s style. So there's 7 of these. My guess is this was probably, yeah, it was a 15 pack. So about half of them were used, but I think there's still interest in this sort of thing. And then the other thing that I'm kind of considering as I go through this is that even if I only have 1 or 2 cards, like I can curate something. I can put a collection together. I could put together a desk set. And so I think that's sort of what I'm leaning towards. I've got a lot of ideas running through my brain right now. So a few other things that came in, I think I got probably about 4 of those grab bags where you could see some good stuff, but you don't really know what else is in there. These weren't too bad. It was a collection of water soluble colored pencils by Voyage Design. So I looked it up and it's kind of a student level grade art pencil. I think they're watercolored pencils, so you draw with them and then you paint with water over the top and you can kind of make it look like watercolor. So not too bad if I wanted to put some sort of a set of something together. Some of them have clearly been used, but they're all in really nice shape. Like even like the ones that haven't been used or have been used but maybe not as much are still like a very fine point. Got a set of markers. They do all work, but these are like the cheapest markers that you can find where like you use them twice and it feels like the tip has dried out or has broken. So again, probably not gonna get real excited about those, but if I find something where I can tuck them in, that feels like a good addition. This was another pen that came in. I know Faber-Castell is a noteworthy brand for like art supplies. Um, but it's a fine liner, you know, it's nothing to write home about. So it's a brand to know, but it's in good shape. It writes, so we can tuck that in with something. Then this I feel like is really indicative of what you get when you pick up some of these bags. You find something good, but then to get it, you have to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 little sticky note pads from whatever company this is. And I mean, I'm sure I'll use them. I'll find a purpose for them, but I'm not going to put this in anything. Nobody's going to use these. A couple of other just like sticky notes that came with it in various states of being used. This one was kind of interesting. Chalk. Here I can use that for something, but I'm not going to open this because actually this looks like it hasn't been opened. I can hear that it's not all in full sticks though. It's a little broken, and it's been beaten up a little bit, but that could be a cool addition. This actually, I got one of the grab bags to get this. I think it may have been a bust because I don't actually think this is going to be worth that much, but it's kind of like a vintagey looking Disney World ruler. It reminds me of a lot of what was popular when I was a kid. So I'm thinking like the early 90s probably is when that came out. So I thought I might be able to find it and get a little bit more for it on its own. I don't think that's going to be the case. That being said, I mean, I couldn't find much about it. But I don't think people are going to shell out for a 90s Disney ruler. So instead, that's where I'm going to start trying to put together like bundles. So maybe I have a fun like Disney desk set bundle that I could put together because you find Disney stuff all over. These were kind of interesting. I feel like I might be able to do something with these. They're like paper cutters. They say Mr. and Mrs. So you like slide the paper in and then push the button down or do something. I don't quite know. When I was scrapbooking as a kid. Oh, there we go. So you like open it up and then put the paper and then push it down and it cuts Mr. or Mrs. out. And then you could either have that inside like the paper, or if you want to use it as like a confetti setup, you can do that. So they're kind of neat. They're heavy duty. It feels noteworthy. These were kind of weird. They were in the bag. I taped this box back together because it was clearly in there. I had never seen these before. 22 paper fasteners. ACCO is the brand, ACCO. But I guess they're meant to hold like bundles of papers together, like in medical files at the doctor's office. These are what like go into the files. And so there's like a U-shaped thing and then something else that slides on top and then you can fold it to like stay in place and hold more or less. And they were all over. So I just taped the box back together. It's kind of vintagey looking. But I feel like more than anything, I'm likely to use those to like actually hold things together to give something more of a finessed look. Unless I figure something out or you can tell me something about them that they're like super high demand and that box is actually really valuable and I ruined it by taping it together. Whatever. You run that risk anytime you do anything like this. This one was actually a really surprising find. I just saw this box. I couldn't even read cross is what it says right there when I picked up the bag. So I opened this knowing absolutely nothing about what was going to be inside. And it turns out it is a really nice mechanical pencil and pen set. It doesn't look like it's ever been used. Still has all of the original packaging, but it does look like it's been opened. So it's still in great shape. And then it's even got like paperwork inside of it. So I looked it up, and I guess this particular brand has like a lifetime warranty on it. So these pens can go for up to $60 in some places for collectors. I don't know anything about pen collecting. I know I've seen a few YouTube videos where they have pen advent calendars where there's pens worth like $200, which is insane to me. But that was kind of a fun find that was in one of those bags completely unexpectedly. So I think that's why people thrift, right? You're gonna pick something up and find something awesome inside. And granted, it might only go for like 20 bucks, but when you consider I paid $4 for the bag that it came in, it is exciting, it's fun. So then one other thing that I found on that same trip is this right here. This was 10 bucks. Cuttlebug, Cuttle, I think, is the brand. And this thing is like a hand crank. It opens up, and I think it is like a cutter for paper crafts. And it's like a heavy duty piece of material. And so I think you put something through here and it moves it through. But when I was shopping, I looked it up to see what it was out of curiosity. And I guess this brand is kind of noteworthy. A lot of crafters really look for their material. So I did take a risk. It was a bit more. It was $10. But if I am out $10, you know, you could do a lot worse. So we're going to try that and just see. But on my second trip, I was a little bit more careful about how much space things were going to take up because I don't have a ton of space. I don't have a storefront. I've got basically my clothes closet to keep this stuff in. So then moving on to some of the other like paper goods. This was really cool. This was again in one of those bags, but I got the bag just to get this box. Now this box was kind of cool, kind of not, because when I opened it up, there was like a bunch of mismatched cards inside, which wasn't quite what I was hoping for. I was hoping for like more of the original set that went in there, but it did have like 3 of them that are beautiful. They look like they're like hand cross stitched. So we've got like these 2 birds, and it's like happy anniversary in the inside. I heard a bird sing at break of day, sing from the autumn trees, a song so mystical and calm, so full of certainties. Nobody puts poems in cards anymore. And the same one, this is for a new baby, which it's so random that like birds, yes, this is clearly a new baby card. But then the other ones that were in it, oh, and then there was the pink one. I don't actually know what this one is. Happy the heart where memories dwell, and happy the day when you are well. So it's just like a thinking of you card. But then it has these that are kind of that same cross stitch pattern. And it's just have a happy birthday. And so there's a bunch of those. I feel like I've seen this style of art with like the kid with no face because the hat is over their head. I feel like I saw that in some of the stuff that my mom had growing up. These were kind of interesting though. So when I pulled these out, they're like this. And this one, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So it's Ecclesiastes, right? Then the other side, there's the thinking of you part. But then when you go to open it, there's a full picture on the inside. So at first I was thinking maybe it's supposed to go this way, but then it's like a wraparound image, which was kind of unusual. So I Googled them, and I guess these were a thing. So I've got 2 of them here. Maybe 3, 2, 1. So I don't know, maybe that's noteworthy. And then other than that, there were some others, you know, let me just kind of go through some other, looks like religious holidays, lots of Bible verses in these. And this one got a hang up. It asks, please get out of it and well again soon. That feels like kind of a targeted get well card. But yeah, so that was fun. The one drawback though is that I did get envelopes, and those have, I don't know if you can see, there's sort of like some water spots on them, or they're turning brown. I don't know if that's actually water, but definitely not a good sign. So that'll definitely, I don't know, the box at the very least is kind of cool. I could probably put the 3 that came in it in there, maybe substitute out the envelopes. But then I got another one. I think this was in the same box. So this was the box that I saw. And when I opened it up, it was originally a box of 25 note card, or excuse me, 20 note cards. But then I opened it and there was 1 note card and 2 envelopes. So that was kind of a bust. It is a cute note card though, like a little girl asleep, but there's nothing on the inside, which I kind of like. I think a lot of the targeted note cards really corner you in. But the box itself is kind of heavy duty. It's got like a magnet to open it. So one of the other things that I got though was a whole ton of stickers. Somebody had like black cat and ghost stickers. So I have a quadrillion of those that I just sort of popped in there. It's nice to have somewhere to keep them. It's kind of some witchy vibes in there too. But black cats and ghosts are very much my thing, so that works well for me. But I figure those can be kind of, you know, added in, maybe made to decorate something. It actually made me think of, there's a local bookstore here where I live, and I checked it out the other day, and they had a blind date with a book. And I love that. I see it at the library, I've seen it at bookstores, but they took it to the next level where they like literally decorated the books in this beautiful tissue and then wrapped with twine, and they added like some ephemera around it. This one has like a stamp eyeliner, so you can do eyeliner on one side and a stamp on the other, a couple of stickers, a bookmark that's like a reading date on there, and then like a highlighter and a pen. And this, it has a tag that tells you like what's inside, and they were actually really good. I appreciate it. They also had a list of triggers, so if I wanted to, I could have them pull up the number of the book. So this is number 650, and they would go through and say like, oh, here's some triggers, do you still want to buy that one? So I thought that was really considerate. But I thought that it was an oversight that the ephemera on the outside doesn't necessarily go with the book that's on the inside. And so I thought maybe I could do something along those lines. I'm really inspired by them, but then take it in my own direction, where then the challenge and the fun becomes making the ephemera reflective of the story itself. So then it becomes kind of like a game, right? So like, oh, based on this, what book could it be? And the one that I got for myself, that one I've got for my best friend, I got one that was a suspenseful Norwegian crime novel. And it ended up being a book called Reykjavik. I'd never heard of it before, so I'm excited to read that one. But it came with like a little coaster on the outside. So many books, so little time. And a little lavender hand lotion. There's some pens and the same bookmark on there. But then it was kind of funny, as I was going through them, some of the others that I found were 4th of July. And as I was opening this, it was the 5th of July. So that is timely-ish, a little too late, I guess. Then I got this little notebook. It says, just one more chapter. And it's actually, it feels almost like faux leather, and it's got kind of a gold leaf thing to the letters. And I was pleasantly surprised by the inside of it. So you can see it's kind of got tracking things. So days of the week for you to circle. You can track the weather, memo numbers, and then the date. And it even has like that little ribbon bookmark that goes through it, so you can save your space. So this was nicer than I expected it to be. I thought this was going to be sort of a cheapo, you know, Amazon find. Honestly, maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know. But I got it. And then I also got, I thought these were going to be kind of a diverse set of cards, but it is just one set of like dogs saying thank you. But like, who doesn't love a dog? So that I feel like could be sold as a set, or I would gladly mix and match those and send somebody like a curated card set or thank you set. A couple other things. This one I'm not excited about. These are just like crap that came in the bag. So it's like door hangers for Christmas. This is, oh, what fun. And of course I ended up with 3 of those. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. And then along the ephemera lines, this one was so random. It's little cutouts of baked goods in very fall colors. So like muffins, pies, croissants, but they're not stickers. My guess is that's why somebody donated them, is because they thought they were gonna be stickers. And it's the same design on both sides of the piece of paper. So again, ephemera, attach it to something, glue it to something, make it look nice. Figure it out, but I definitely get why somebody wasn't super excited about that. It's also very monochromatic. This one, I don't even remember what it was paired with, but I got this just to get what else was in it. So this is Thinking of You. It's just a set of cards. These look like they're mass printed. So again, like if I'm selling vintage stuff, nobody wants that. So I think the curation aspect of things is going to be more enticing. Just a couple more things. So this was interesting. It's a film photography pocket guide. And I looked this up. It's like shooting in manual mode, like literally how to do good photography. It's like 10 bucks. So like if I wanted to order this on Amazon, it goes for 10 bucks. So at the very least, you know, I can sell that as a one-off. This one I did go out of my way to get though. It is a little tiny Radio Shack calculator that still works. So I don't know if you can see it. I can't get it quite in the light here, but you turn it on and it does show like the 0 and still works full on. It's in like good shape. So I thought surely somebody collects that sort of stuff. At the very least though, then I want to put together sort of like an 80s style vintage desk set. So find like a heavy duty stapler that goes with it, or God, the end all be all would be if I could get one of those like green library lamps to go with it. That would be way cool. So everything has sort of an idea, but it's a matter of, am I going to have the right pieces to be able to follow through and turn it into something? So a couple of just plain old notebooks. I feel like these are a dime a dozen. But again, sort of nice on the inside. It's got that memo number. Maybe I should be numbering my memos that I write. And then this one, this is like my least favorite type of lined notebook. It's just lines, but I feel like they're so wide that nobody writes quite like that. And I don't know, it just, maybe that's just a personal pet peeve. And then this is a magnetic notepad that says when body parts migrate. It's not quite my sense of humor, but maybe somebody will. These were actually kind of handy. They came in one of those bags. I got 2 of them, but I'm going to use one to save my receipt. So if I'm doing this, if I'm selling anything and I make money off of it, I do need to keep the receipts. So I may as well start there. So I think that's everything from the first haul that I did. So then I did another haul today, and that one I was a little bit more cautious with. I was a little bit more restrained for time, but I'm pleased with what I found. So first things first, this is not for the shop. This is for me. I got this lovely felt hat that I adore. So maybe that will make an appearance at a later date. That was $7, so it's quite the splurge. Then thinking about if I'm going to be taking pictures and like staging stuff, I do need a couple of little things to present and make it look good. So this was so cute. It kind of felt right for me. I have no idea what this is for. Like obviously to press against something that was rounded, or maybe there were 2 others that went with it to turn it into a circle. But the shop name that I've decided to go with, and I've already got the email and I'm setting up the Etsy site and everything, is going to be Toadstools and Typewriters. And so I want to go for a secret garden, witchy, just a little bit of everything, cozy vibe. I hesitated because it feels like that's a dime a dozen, but it still feels good. Like there's a reason people like that. So I'm going to lean into it. It feels good for me. It's what I like. And so the stuff that I'm going to get that I want to create, I'm going to hopefully play into that a little bit. And then I also got this. I think it was meant to be a vase, but it's like a soft basket material. It's got like a bag inside. So not exactly the prettiest thing in the world, but you know, if I've got like pens or something, or I could lean a notepad up against it, you never know. This one I was kind of excited about. This was literally like I saw it and didn't even question it. It just went right in the cart. So something about this pattern gave me very 70s vibes. I might be wrong because as I look at it closely, I see that it probably is a little bit more modern than that. And actually, I just thought it was a clipboard, but as I'm looking at it now, it is actually, it'll hold like a notepad. Like right here, you can slide that in and then a folder. It's Green Room brand, so I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, it says 2015, so it's not 1970s. It was just giving 1970s very effectively. This one reminded me of like a 90s mom kitchen with not paisley, like the bandana print is what I think of it, but it's like a family tree book. And when you open it, it just has like a heritage keepsake. So like, here's who started this family tree, and then there's just spaces for people to write, like literally, here's our family, here's how so and so met, here's where our name comes from, here's some family photos. And it's just a lot of that. And then like space for like an interview with grandpa, and then a folder, so you can like tuck any sort of family photos or memorabilia in there that you like. And I love this. I paid $5 for it. I think it's probably circa like, oh geez, see, my dates are off. I've got to research this better. This is 2008. This felt very like 1997 to me. So we'll make that one work. This one isn't all that exciting. It's just a little candle. It's one of those, there's no place like home, so it's supposed to smell like Massachusetts. I can't tell you exactly what it smells like. It's nice, it's not bad. I think there's probably a little bit of like a tobacco smell in there and something a little sweet to go with it, but that was $3. So again, like if I am taking pictures, just to have like a little candle burning in the background while I'm writing with the pen in the fancy stationery, just felt like that was a good have. Especially with the sort of amber colored like brown glass there. I like that a lot. This guy I was so excited about. He's kind of goofy looking now. I see his eyes on camera, but I couldn't leave him. I think he might be made out of wood or some sort of like heavy duty like plastic material. But if I'm going for like a green, witchy, woodsy type vibe, it felt like critters were good to have, and I adore owls, so he had a lot of personality. So we're gonna name him. We'll make friends. Then again, this thing I paid $5.50 for this. Look how kind of weird it is. It's just like two little baby angels in there, but they also sort of look like fish. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this, but I'm gonna make something work with this because I couldn't not bring that home with me. This one I was sort of inspired to do like a 90s type like nostalgia basket with it. This journal just gave me 90s nostalgia vibes all over. It is that type of paper that I hate the most though. And had it been true 1990s, it would have a little lock with that key that could unlock like anything that had that cheapo little lock on it. But then it also came with the 1-minute gratitude journal, which doesn't look too bad. Definitely not like vintage at all, but it's literally just like every day, here's what I'm grateful for, date, day, and what I'm thankful for. And then there's like some quotes on a couple of these pages. Well, yeah, there's a quote on every page, little butterfly, little tree. So I don't know, I feel like somebody could have just printed this up themselves and sold that again on Amazon. I don't feel like that's something that's special. Then this is where things are a little bit different. Oh, except for this, not yet. This I actually have not opened, so you can kind of see the bags that I was talking about. This one was $4.99, so I did splurge a little bit on this one. But the first thing on the front was a with sympathy. So I know that I'm getting stationery, and this one, I've got some sympathy cards, and I don't know that I'd really had any of those in the stash yet. So this 10 cards and envelopes with sympathy. Again, this does just look like, I don't know if you, am I just reading into this? That looks like Amazon to me. That the way that label is made up just makes me think it's like Amazon printed. So let's see. Thinking of you and wishing you comfort and peace. It's kind of nice. Like as far as sympathy cards go, it's less weird than those birds for an anniversary. So we'll make that happen with something. And then, oh, this one's kind of cool. Oh, this has stamps in it. This I saw, all I could see was like this. So I knew there was a set of something, but I didn't know what exactly it was. So these are like seashell cards. Oh, there's a bunch of them like stacked together. They're kind of a nice texture too. So they look like seashells, and then they come with matching envelopes that have like a little seashell at the bottom. Oh no, these are like pages from a notepad. Um, and then these are postcards. That's kind of pretty. And seashell gift and travel pack. So I could kind of see what they were supposed to come with. How much of that I've actually got, I'm not sure. But oh, I hope these are real. This is a 29-cent stamp. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of them. These are fun. That is a cool find. So like some early rock and roll singer stamps. It's like a whole book of stamps too. This is great. Oh, mail this coupon and payment to Legends of American Music. To get what? To get the original box set, 20 classic hits by 7 legendary artists. Cool. And these are like literally like you lick stamps. I haven't done that in ages. So that's kind of a cool find. I did that once where I got a secondhand box. It was like a wooden box that had The Hobbit on cassette in it. And honestly, I wanted the box more than the cassettes. But at the bottom of it, it had a thing where you could write into the company that produced it and get like a Gandalf foil photo where like it changes based on how you hold it. And out of curiosity, this is like probably from the 1960s or 70s. I mailed it in like 2016, and I was surprised how fast I got it returned to me because I had the self-addressed stamped envelope and the check and everything. And basically they had written a message on it that said, haven't been here for a long time. But it was just kind of fun to have tried. So this comes with like a little pen. I don't know if I've got like a scratch paper that I can scribble on real quick here to see if that's still working. I think I planned for this. Not great to start, although I don't know, this could just be weird paper. Yeah, so this pen might be a dud. It doesn't look like it's in great shape. It's pretty. I like the purple. And then over here is where we've got like full sheets of stationery with a little seashell, a little damaged on the corner. And then, oh, interesting. The stuff that's mixed in here is weird. So these look like they don't have anything to do with it. It's just somebody's collection of stationery, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Like, I love this. Oh, this one, flat on your back. This has got to be another weird get well card. Is that going to be like the vibe? How aggravating. Hope you're up and around soon. I thought it was going to say something about like hopping around because it's a frog. Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing. Like, what are the weirdest get well cards and who would you send them to? Yeah, so these are cute. Thoughts to cheer you on. Happy birthday with some bunnies. Ooh, this is actually pretty, except for the mouse at the bottom. And then, oh, something from the Eastern Paralyzed Veterans Association from New Hampshire. This looks old, too. It's kind of interesting. Might look into that and see. I don't know very much about how people feel about, you know, like what materials they use when they're junk journaling, but I feel like when I find these random pieces of paper, I don't know if anybody wants this one in particular, but it could be interesting to maybe just create sort of a package of, you know, junk journaling accoutrement, so to speak. Let's put that back in there so I don't bend it up anymore. Except now I'm rushing a little bit. But that was kind of a cool find. There's neat stuff in there. And then this I fell in love with. It was $1.99. And I was trying to open it up and I'm like, okay, but the flowers are upside down no matter what side I open it from. And then I figured out it is a little recipe folder with a ribbon. And like there's absolutely nothing that makes this look like it's mass produced. So I don't know if it was handmade, but it definitely wasn't made in like big batches. That was really cute. And I get the sense that that is probably legitimately vintage, although we've seen that my judgment on that is not 100%. So then the next set of stuff that I've got is sort of leaning into that idea of the Blind Date with a Book, but then also I have noticed that people have been really into just having copies of the classics around. So I'm leaning into just kind of picking those up when I find them. So I found some neat ones, and I was using Google Gemini to kind of help me with some of this, and it was trash. So I know there's mixed feelings on AI. I was trying to use it to figure things out without having to do a ton of research then and there in the store. But I think I am going to have to like buckle down and do the actual research because the information that it was giving me was less than helpful. So what I did end up with was The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. So this is like a 1960, I think I looked it up, it was like 1963 copy of it. It's in like pretty good shape, but just the look of the cover felt very like of a certain era. And it's Hemingway, you know, everybody loves him. This one's for me. I got Night. I maybe have had a copy of this. I teach the Holocaust, and so I needed a copy of that book because we just read excerpts from it. This one is one of my favorites. When I was in undergrad, I did my senior thesis on this book. So One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This one is a little bit newer. I think this is actually not as new as I had thought it would be. I think this is like a 1970s version of it. I can't find the page with all the information right now, of course. But I just really like the look of it. It mirrors what I think kind of the movie cover was. So this was 1976. So kind of cool. That one I think could be aesthetic or could be like a blind date with a book. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do like, you know, you can't return it just because you've already read the book, or I don't know, maybe if somebody sends me their Goodreads, I can make sure that they haven't read the book, but I don't want to do too much legwork if it's just gonna be like, oh, it's a cute present. This one really stood out to me. I don't know if it's actually good. I've never heard of this before, but it was such an interesting little like piece that I couldn't pass it up. It's called The Mouse That Roared by Leonard Wibberley, one of the funniest books of all times, The Mad, Irresistible Atomic Antics of Grand Fenwick. It made me think of the Phantom Toll Booth as I was looking at it. Just kind of very small print though. I might have to read it. It's a Bantam Pathfinder edition. It sold for 50 cents. I think this was another like 1960s. Yeah, so 1966 publication. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody looks at these, but if you look at the editions, so it says like this is the 14th printing for the 1966 one, but then it lists 4 more editions. Like they anticipated how many editions were going to be printed of this before it stopped. So I might look into that. It's a little bit beat up, but it felt unique enough that the condition would be okay, even if it's not 100%. This one I was tempted to get for me, and that's how I knew that it would probably be of interest to other people. This is not anything special, but it is a hardback edition of Voltaire, Candide, and Other Stories. The Everyman's Library by Knopp, Knopp. The cover's a little dirty, but I think I can probably wipe that off. But other than that, it's just a beautiful version, like something people would want to have on their coffee table or on their bookshelf. And everybody wants to sound smart, so you know, if you can cite Candide, why wouldn't you? This one was not in the book section. It's called Find Your Magic, but it is a journal. And I was thinking about that. Like, I love finding a good journal, like a guided journal. And so this one kind of, obviously, this is very in vogue right now and matches sort of the tone that I'm going for with the shop that I want to create. So it was a given that I was going to get it. But then I realized, like, if I can find and sort of collect like journals for people and then give like help them find guided journals, or maybe even create guided journals with the stuff that I find, that could be really fun. But I think that's maybe more of a down the line thing. This I'll probably put in like a collection of things. Nobody's going to be just picking up that book itself. This I thought was gorgeous. It's The Great Gatsby, but it is the Cambridge edition of the works of F. Scott Fitzgerald. So I don't think it's just The Great Gatsby. I think it's The Great Gatsby and other things. Like, I literally opened it up to just a random page and I found the first page of The Great Gatsby with this little like paper printout inside of it. It says 1974, The Great Gatsby with costumes by Lauren sparks jazz age fashion trend. So it looks like this is an image from the movie. So somebody probably used this for a class or something, but it is absolutely a gorgeous edition of the work. Yeah, so like the bulk of it is the introduction at the beginning, and then they've got like notes from different versions, like revisions of Fitzgerald's work. So this is just really cool to me. I am that type of nerd, and this, I mean, like, I don't know, other stationery people are probably into that too, right? And this one I may not get rid of. I think this might be a failed find. Ancient Greek philosophers. I'm writing about sort of an ancient Greece inspired thing, and this is beautiful. It's got the golden edges, it's got that bookmark built in. This is obviously newer. I think this is just like a Barnes and Noble copy, but to have this on hand for myself just seems fun. But also, like, if I want to take photographs of something, like, this would be a great book to, like, you know, set a piece of paper on or against, just have this in the background, and oh, look at this dark academia, look how whimsical it is, and we'll see how it goes from there. I'm also realizing that there are a couple of things that I got on my first haul that are not out here, so I'm going to pause and go get those real quick. Okay, so this is the last of what I've got. Just, what do we got? Like 5 more things here. So this one I am in love with this. It is Sarah Lugg's Stationery. I've never seen this before, but I guess she does primarily like just natural type things. But how gorgeous is this? And so the envelopes are like somewhat translucent, and then these are just the greeting cards. And I counted, and I think all of the pieces are there. So I love this. So I'm hoping that actually sells on its own pretty well, but I might pair that into something. And then at the same time, I found this one. This didn't really stand out to me on its own until I started looking through it, because when you opened it, there's like immediately an envelope to keep things in and picture frames. So throughout the entirety of the journal, there's like obviously like places to write with like very French feelings to them. Again, this feels very 90s, but then periodically there's another spot for like a photograph to go and like a place to write your memory about that. And then it goes all the way through. There's some like smaller places to put pictures, so you could do multiples, up until I thought there'd be like a folder at the very end where you could keep more stuff, but it just ends. The one thing that I'm a little worried about is that the binding isn't 100%. I was reading up on what to do, and I think messing with it might do more harm than good, so I might just have to sort of look at it as is. And then this is like a binder. It just is really pretty. It's Bando brand. I don't think it's anything truly vintage, but I could turn this into something cool. So in the inside, then there's all the like places to put your stuff and your notebooks and your pens. So if I filled this out and sold this as like a full like binder, I think that could be cool. The only drawback, I don't know if you can quite see it, there are like some slight marks on the back of it that looks like it was stored up against something that sort of rubbed into it. And then the last thing that I found were a couple of vintage children's books. I hadn't really gone in expecting to look for these, but it just feels like it goes with the vibe. And these were just cool and different. So this One Fine Day, is I'd never heard of before. The pictures are nice. This one kind of reminds me of like Stregonona. But then as I'm looking through this was printed in 1971, and like this is in beautiful condition for being a 1971 copy, to the point where I'm still like questioning that. It's just that's the only copyright date that I can find, and usually they'll give you multiple copyright dates, like originally copyright 1971, and then they'll list the other dates after that, but I can't find any other dates on this. So I think it might actually be just like in that good of shape, unless I can find something otherwise. Then this one, I just love Maurice Sendak. It's Little Bear, but it is like, I don't know, this feels like what I would find at the library in the kids section when I was a kid. So looking at it, it's one of those like I can read books. Ugh, this is sort of the drawback of getting secondhand. I have to clean out the dead bug in the front of it. But looking through, this is a 1957 copy. And this one, I feel like it definitely looks it, you know, like this feels like something out of 1957. So this one is really cool. And then the last children's book that I got, this was really kind of a fun find for me. It's called The Boy Who Ate More Than the Giant and Other Swedish Folk Tales. I love like fairy tales, folk tales. And this one's just so bizarre. It also seems to be kind of like the dust jacket is sort of like printed weird or folded oddly. So sometimes that can be an asset if it's like a misprint. Um, and then just very sort of like simplistic images that go with it, but like full stories that go into it. It says this was printed in cooperation with UNICEF. So I'm not quite sure about that one, but it's just such a cool vibe that I had to get this one. So hopefully that's enough to sort of get things started, get my basic stock set up. And I feel like at the very least, I can put together maybe 3 sets of stuff that people would want with this alongside, you know, sort of the hero pieces, right? If I can put this entire binder together, that's going to be a hero piece. The wall hanger is going to be a hero piece. And then just kind of go from there and get a sense for what people want, what's going to sell, and what I got completely duped on. So stay tuned. I'll definitely have some more thrifting hauls, and let you know kind of what I put together, how it turns out, and eventually hopefully give you a link to my Etsy shop once I've got that up and going. So until next time, happy writing.